Hi YouTube, I'm Tactical Fork, and in today's video, we're kicking off a series covering the boss rooms of Grandmaster Nightfalls in Destiny 2, starting with our most recent batch in Season 14. Now, I've seen tons of videos going over these Grandmaster Nightfalls in a few minutes. They try and be quick, succinct, to the point, but I thought that the boss room encounters in particular deserve a little more attention than kind of glossing over the entire strike and all the mechanics that you're going to see throughout the activity. I thought that it would be fantastic to actually showcase the boss room encounters for you guys so you can see how each one plays out with a fire team. And especially for those of you who might be nervous about a strike or two. Glassway. So for this very first episode in this Grandmaster Nightfall series, we are starting in Season 14, and we're going to be moving in chronological order. So we're going to be moving all the way through the current season, because it's still the current season, Season 14. And then moving forward in the next seasons, subsequent seasons, we're going to be taking a look at those as well, because there will be some variation in the mods that are being used, different aspects for stasis or other kind of unique things that might make the boss rooms a little different each season. But for today, we are starting with the first GM that was in Season 14, which was in fact the Glassway. The entire strike, and the boss room is included in this, takes forever. But you know what doesn't take forever? Hitting those like and subscribe buttons. I also stream on Twitch. The link to my Twitch channel is down below. I hope you click on it. I hope you show up and say hi. So yes, the strike takes forever. And this is one of those boss rooms where you just need to pack your snacks, pitch a tent, and dig in, because you are going to be in this room for a long time. And that's just by the nature of the way that this boss room is designed. There are a lot of champions. You have two beefy bosses to deal with. So there's a lot of action going on, and there are a lot of mechanics that happen at certain times that I'll go over when we're actually watching the gameplay video about what triggers champions to spawn, what health bar you need to focus on to make that happen, stuff like that. So I've timestamped those important sections below, but I'll also be doing voiceover throughout the video to explain those mechanics and when those things are happening, and try and talk as best I can about what our team is doing to address those in the moment. So I hope you enjoy the video. I look forward to reading your comments below. Feel free to tell me something that our fire team could have done better. I just LFG'd with this group, so we just ran it how we could. But I always want to hear from you guys. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it helps. So if you're new to GMs and you're trying to run it now, or the next time Glassway comes up, which who knows when that'll be, but I imagine it'll be back. And I look forward to sharing the rest of this series with you to go over boss room encounters. So thanks a lot, guys, and I will see you again real soon. All right, welcome everybody to the boss room encounter of Glassway Strike. Important thing to note right up front here is that your boss room encounter is all dictated on the amount and timing of damage that you do to both bosses in this room. So both bosses, we have Big Boy Hydra and we have the Mini Hydra. And one or both of these will appear and disappear during different phases. But to get this encounter started, you have an Overload Champion and some Dregs to start out the room. And you first need to kill the Overload Champion to start the full boss encounter. So as soon as this Overload dies, get ready, because you and your fire team are in for your first wave of champions and bosses. Okay, so for this first encounter, you are going to be greeted with two Overload Champions that spawn. Both bosses are also going to be alive during this first phase. So you have Big Hydra and Mini Hydra. As you can see here, we're funneling, or trying to funnel, both Overload Champions through that tiny door on the left side of the boss room. Obviously, while also being respectful of where Mini Hydra is at this time, big boy boss stays outside. So if we can stay inside and avoid his giant void cannon splash damage, we can usually get through this part no problem. Once you take care of the first 2 overloads, your next job is to tip one of the bosses to 75% health to get the next set of overload champions to spawn, which we do here with the mini Hydra. So we get him to 75% and the next 2 overload champions spawn. We repeat the process we did for the first 2, where we want to get them funneled through this small opening. Stasis comes in real handy with overloads because it can freeze them, and then you can just whittle them down with your overload weapons.
Both are here, both here, both are here.
All right.
Excellent thunder crash.
Nice. Once you remove all 4 overload champions from those first phases, you now do boss DPS. When it comes to boss DPS here, it's not a race. This guy is chunky, he's time gated, it's meant to be a long fight, so be prepared to whittle away at this guy with your primary kinetic weapons.
Night Wispy,
you
thanks,
really
man.
don't want
Yep.
to waste special or heavy ammo at this point on the boss. Save that for later, take your time. We kind of tag team between both sides of this room to draw aggro away and back to the other side so that we can all kind of chip in and get damage done. This is the start of the next phase. Phase 2 involves the spawning of 2 anti-barrier champions and 2 wyverns. We tried our best to go far left and focus fire 1 wyvern immediately, which we do here. We melt 1. And then the anti-barrier champions aren't as aggressive as the overloads. So we're doing a little bit of ad clear here, being mindful of mini Hydra that is still spawned in. The main boss, however, does spawn out during this phase, so you don't have to worry about the massive void cannons that he has. Again, we're using the center lane here to focus fire one of the anti-barrier champions.
Yeah, both wyverns are down.
And again, coming back to this same hallway, focusing fire from relatively inside cover to take care of the next one.
Good job.
The next step is to deal damage to mini Hydra once again. Once mini Hydra is at 50%, you repeat the same thing. 2 more anti-barrier champions spawn along with 2 more wyvern. Again, our team goes far left to melt one of the Hydra immediately.
Other wyverns on left.
Tagging the next one with Anarchy. For Season 14, we had Breach and Clear as a seasonal mod that came in real handy to just tag the Hydra and walk away. Sometimes dealing with these anti-barriers can just depend on where they aggro and where you feel comfortable tackling them from. In this case, for the second round of anti-barriers, we were able to kind of focus fire on the left side where we did the Hydra, and we took care of them relatively easily from there. Again, stasis comes in real handy to freeze these guys, allowing you to continue to shoot them without fear of getting shot back. Once those anti-barriers are down, the next phase starts. The big Hydra respawns, the mini Hydra does not. There are, again, 2 overload champions that spawn in, and so we're applying the same strategy here, trying to get their aggro into that center hallway, being mindful of all the other ads that are spawning in with them, but we're trying to focus fire on those overloads immediately by freezing them. Our team was also using Wither Horde and a combination of other unique exotics and heavy weapons to help with ad clear, as well as doing damage on these big boys.
Nice.
Once the first set of overloads is down in this third phase, you then get to deal boss damage. So again, this is big boss, so just whittle away at him, draw aggro back and forth for you and your teammates to whittle him down with your kinetic or primary weapons until he gets to 50% health. Once he's at 50% health, the next wave of overload champions spawns. Again, same strategy as before, trying to funnel them into this hallway on the left side, stasis to freeze them, overload weapons to continue to overload and do damage to them all the while. Supers come in real handy here as well.
shit.
Once both of these overload champions are gone, you're back to primary boss DPS. Whittling him down to 25% will have him momentarily despawn,
And the Wyverns.
and then both the big boss, mini Hydra, and 2 anti-barrier champions, along with 2 Wyverns, all spawn in together. This is the biggest and baddest part of the battle because you have the most enemies happening all at once.
Yeah. Alright.
We tried to employ a similar strategy here by melting one of the Wyverns immediately on the left-hand side. Staying in this room will protect you from the main Hydra as long as you don't get too close to the openings that he's
If you
aggroed
see a
on.
brick and you want to get it, just let me know and I can
We spent a lot of time jumping back and forth trying to preserve ammo while also aggroing the champions as best we could to isolate them. In this case, we got to isolate them pretty well in the middle of the boss room. So we focused fire here on the right side of the left room, taking care of the big boss.
Nice.
And we end up doing the same thing for the second one, actually. We were able to get the main Hydra boss aggroed all the way on the left side of the room, and then we could swing back around here and force fire on the other side, giving ourselves enough time to gun this enemy down before the big boss had time to rotate back across to the middle of the map.
He's down.
Alright. Thank God.
You make me invest so I can get ammo.
The next phase of battle after your 2 anti-barrier champions are down is to completely melt the mini Hydra. Once you take care of the mini boss, that spawns yet another wave. 2 anti-barrier champions as well as 2 Wyverns. So again, we tried our best to melt one of the Wyverns immediately on the left-hand side, and then focus firing the anti-barrier champions from that middle corridor of the left-hand side room.
Alright, one barrier down, the other one's right. He's here. He's back mid.
I'm blinded him, it's fine. Holy shit.
Nice. Let's get this barrier, and then it's just boss.
Yep.
Yep. Tagged. There we go. Move my shield up right here just in case.
Good shit. Good shit.
And with those final 2 anti-barrier champions down, it is all about big boss DPS. Until you whittle them all the way down,
Fucking
and
G.
clear that boss room,
God.
stretch it out, finish your snacks, and man, just go to bed. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate the time it took to explain this, and I'll see you again real soon.